Hello and welcome back to our channel. I'm so excited to be able to show you today how to make these simple breakfast cookies. Now I love to cook and I'm so excited because this is our first cooking recipe video on this channel, and where best to start than with our first meal, which is breakfast. So stay tuned to know and learn how to make these cookies. So the first thing you're going to need is some measuring cups. Now I don't usually measure when I cook, but I thought that it might be hard for people to follow if I don't have precise measurements. So I decided to get some simple stainless steel measuring cups, and that's the first thing you're going to need. Now the second thing you're going to need is 2 ripe bananas, half a cup of blueberries. Now I recorded this video twice at different times, so if you see me going back and forth, it's because I recorded it 2 times, and that's because I added the additional measuring cups to this video so that it's easier for you to follow. So that's half a cup of blueberries. Now you can use dried fruit as well if you want to, but I decided to use fresh blueberries. Now the next thing you're going to need is 3 cups of jumbo oats. I prefer to use jumbo oats because it's more in a wholesome state than the other oats, which are a bit more refined. So you can use either or, but I choose to use jumbo oats. Now, like I said, I had to actually re-measure it out, and it's specifically or precisely 3 cups of jumbo oats that I'm using. As you can see, I'm kind of deciding how much, if that's enough oats, and it was a perfect amount, so that's 3 cups of jumbo oats. Now the next thing that you're going to need is 3 to 4 teaspoons of coconut palm sugar. Now the way I estimate how much sugar I need is based upon the amount of bananas I use. So per banana I would add 2 teaspoons of sugar, coconut palm sugar. So if you increase the amount to make a bigger batch, then just increase it by 2 based upon how much bananas you use. Now the next thing you're going to need is desiccated coconut, and I use about 6 tablespoons of that because I really like coconut. So I add 6 tablespoons. You can add less or more depending upon your likes or dislikes of desiccated coconut. Now if you have some fresh coconut in your house, you can use fresh coconut if you want, but today I'm using desiccated coconut. Now it's better to have all your ingredients outlaid ready, because when your hands get messy and sticky, you don't want to have to be dealing with going back to get more ingredients, etc. So let's get started. So once we have all of our ingredients ready to go, we're going to get a mixing bowl and peel the 2 bananas and put them into a mixing bowl, and we're basically just going to mash down on these bananas. I don't think you need to use a blender or anything but a fork just to mash it down, because it gets to the right consistency, and it needs to look a little something like this. And once it does, we're going to start adding the rest of our ingredients. So the first thing I'm adding, as you can see, is the coconut palm sugar. Now you don't need to use sugar if you don't want to, but this is an option, and coconut palm sugar is one of the better sugars to use, and we'll do a separate video on that in the near future. Now the next thing that I'm going to add, which I didn't actually state at the beginning, is some milled pumpkin seeds. Now you can add other seeds, flax seeds, sunflower seeds, anything you like. So I'm just using pumpkin seeds today, and I use about 3 to 4 teaspoons of that. Now we're going to add our desiccated coconut. Again, 6 tablespoons of that. I end up using the rest of the bowl because I like it that much. And then at this point I would basically just mix it. And that's because it's easier to kind of make sure everything is evenly distributed when there's less ingredients in the bowl. So I usually mix it at this point to make sure that everything is evenly distributed. So I'm just giving it a quick mix before I add the rest of the ingredients, which are the blueberries and the oats. So at this point I'm adding the freshly washed blueberries. Now it's funny because the end of this video, I actually added too much blueberries to this batch because I didn't measure and my eyes were a bit too big, and because these ones are very big, because sometimes you get smaller blueberries, but these ones were beautiful. They were big, but it was a bit too big for what I was doing, and I used a bit too much based upon the ingredients that I had. So as you can see, I'm mixing the blueberries and the rest of the desiccated coconut, and yes, that doesn't look that appetizing, but it's going to get to the stage that it will. So the next thing that I'm doing now is adding some jumbo oats, the 3 cups of jumbo oats to the mixture. Simply just adding all of those oats And I'm going to give it a good mix for a couple of minutes, or maybe even a minute, just till everything's binded together good. Now the good thing with these breakfast cookies is that, you know, you can add so much goodness to it, and it's really does taste like, not because I'm making it, but it really does taste nice, and many people who I've made it for have liked it. It's so easy to make, and it's like so quick as well. And I'm adding the last teaspoon of sugar to that. So yeah, they are so nutritious as well, and that's what I like about vegan cooking, is that you can use the same ingredients. So for example, people could have oatmeal for breakfast and then have blueberries on top, and even use the coconut palm sugar as a sweetener, but you're using the very same ingredients that you might use in the morning, but just in a different way. So you're not having the same old breakfast, but you're changing it up, and having a variety of different types of breakfast. And that's one of the reasons why I love vegan cooking, because I'm using generally the same ingredients, but just in different ways, and coming out with different outcomes. Now this is something that it should look like. It looks something like this. This is going to be good enough for you to be able to bind and to be able to bring it all together. This is now the last stage and step to making the breakfast cookies. First thing, now well, not the first thing, but the next thing that you're going to need is a glass tray, and that's going to be used to go into the oven. Now I use olive oil at this point to basically grease the glass tray, or Pyrex, whatever you want to call it, so that it doesn't stick to the tray. Because if you do this without greasing it in some way, shape or form, it will stick to the glass. So I just added some olive oil to it, and now I'm going to begin to make the cookies up. Now all you're going to need to get is like a heap tablespoon of the ingredients, and you're just going to kind of squeeze. And this is the reason, one of the reasons why I re-recorded, because I wanted this bit to be clear. You're basically getting the ingredients and you're squeezing it like a sponge in your hand to bind everything together. Now based upon the amount of ingredients and the instructions that I gave, this should be good enough for you to be able to bind it, and it's not too dry or it's not too wet. And as you can see, I don't usually do it with one hand, but just so that you can see it, I'm literally squeezing it together. Now the reason why this step's very important is because if you don't squeeze it properly, then it will kind of break apart in the oven. So you need to make sure that everything's fully binded together. And then once you've done that for 1, 2, 3 times, you just shape it into a cookie-like shape, and then fix up the edges like I'm trying to do, and then you're basically done with your first cookie. And yeah, that's what it should kind of look like. And then you just go to the next one and continue this process until you finish the whole bowl full of ingredients. So as you can see, I'm literally just squeezing and binding all the ingredients together and getting all the little bits. And also, I was going to say at this point, sometimes it's good to kind of like make a hole for the blueberries and then kind of make sure that it's inside, because again it can like kind of leach out, because obviously it's got juices in there, the blueberries that is. So you know, you can have one outside if you want, but sometimes I kind of put them in the inside as well. And I'm just shaping it like a cookie. And like I said, this size is like more for me and my husband, but if you used to do it for a child, then you could like cut or use less of the ingredients and then make them smaller if you like. So I don't think I need to show the whole thing. I think you should get by now the method. It's not hard. You just simply just squeeze in. And I continue this process until I am finished. So now I've basically completed the whole thing, and this amount of ingredients made 8 like decent sized cookies. If you do it smaller, then you can get more out of it. But as you can see, they're good size and they're very filling. And you get 8 just from using 2 bananas and 3 cups of oats. So I think that's very good. And what I done is basically put it in the oven for half an hour to 40 minutes at 150 to 160 degrees, depending upon your oven. and I just let that bake, and I turned it over halfway through, and that's how it turned out. I found that funny, so I put that in. The blueberry kind of popped out. But yeah, so when I do this, sometimes I have like a takeaway breakfast if I need to go somewhere and I can't really sit down and eat. And that's how my breakfast would look like, literally the four of the cookies, because that's good enough for me. And I'll just have some fruit, fresh blueberries, and then some grapes or oranges if I'm into oranges at the time. And then I'm kind of good to go, and that's basically me. And I just think it's a good idea if people need to go and it's easy to eat. But what I would do if I was going to have it in the morning is I would warm it up slightly in the oven. So thank you for watching, and I hope that you continue to watch our channel, our videos, and that you're blessed by them. Please, if you have any ideas or anything that you want to see more of, let us know. I know we're kind of dragging with the videos and we're not being as consistent as we want to be, but hopefully we'll try to get more out, and just simple tips that can help you to be able to cook nutritious food for your family in a simple, easy way, because I know that it can get too much and too overwhelming. So we're here to share with you the little tips that we are practicing and the things that we are doing. So I hope to see you in the next video, and I hope you enjoyed this. So take care and au revoir. Bye.